I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a lot better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louie.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-934-8177. 800-934-8177. 800-934-8177.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Football is back, and what better way to celebrate than winning some cash with Sleeper Picks? Sleeper Picks is a fantasy game, but you can win real money. Just pick more or less on at least 2 player stats. If your picks are right, you win. You can pick up to 8 players to win up to 100 times your money. And Sleeper has a couple of huge offers to kickstart the football season. For new users, Sleeper will match your first deposit with up to $100 credit to your account. If you've already played, Sleeper's got discounted player projections for you every week of the season. So download the Sleeper app now and use promo code DRIVE, and your first deposit will be doubled with a credit up to $100. What are you waiting for? Download Sleeper today and use code DRIVE for credit up to $100 match on your first deposit. That's code DRIVE.
Celebrity guest DJs.
This is Little Steven.
This is Nancy Wilson of Heart.
It's Rob Lowe.
And Bruce's critically acclaimed radio show, From My Home to Yours.
Hello, East Street Nation.
Only on Bruce Springsteen's channel. To listen to East Street Radio, activate your subscription now by calling 844-711-8800 or head over to SiriusXM.com to sign up quickly.
Gonna be good times. There you go now.
I think I'm recording.
Oh, that's it. That's it.
If you've been thinking about buying a home, you need to be in the zone, the home buying zone. You need a game plan to win in this great real estate market. The Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage has all your bases covered. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, purchasing your dream home, refinancing, consolidating debt, or even considering a reverse mortgage, contact the Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage today. They have the lowest closing costs and they'll close your loan on time, guaranteed, or they'll pay your first mortgage payment. And they even have a 3.5% purchase down payment grant that can get you into a home with little money out of your pocket. It doesn't get more clutch than that, folks. Score big on the biggest purchase of your life. Call Equity Zone Mortgage today at 1-800-772-8624. That's 1-800-772-8624. Or apply online at equityzonemortgage.com and tell them Big C sent you as heard on the Big C Sport Podcast. License number 018-14868.
Rondo Deportes, bonjour, vidi vidi vici. Let's get ready to rumble. Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton of Big C Sports. This is Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to me and people who love the universe. And that would include you. What a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day in the neighborhood. Won't you be my neighbor? Shut up! Fool, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Well, it's not my fault they voted for me. I was voted neighborhood spokesperson. And my job is to make sure that everybody's getting along. And I think it's best to find people at home when it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Some people don't appreciate it, but you shouldn't have voted for me if you didn't want to get up early. That's my story. I'm taking with it. What a beautiful day on a beautiful Friday the 13th, 2024. Today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard in the world. When you go by and test drive yours, tell them sit you where the good Lord split you. And hopefully the good Lord didn't split you too wide, because they don't make cars big enough for the wide splits that are born out of these fast food restaurant eateries that are popping up all over the neighborhood. There are more fast food restaurants than there are churches. There are more fast food restaurants than there are gyms. So be careful if your pants have shrunk that you bought last year, if that makes sense to you. Some of my pants have shrunk too that I bought last year. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. I want to say I love bringing it to you on Big C's Friday Night Lights. I got some Big C's Friday Night Light high school football, and then I have Big C's college football predictions, and then I have Big C's NFL football picks. You know I always talk about reparations because a mind is a terrible thing to waste. We're reaching out to California Governor Gavin Newsom. In fact, governors all over the great United States of America to champion reparations the same way we champion the gaming industry. You know, the NFL got in bed with the gaming industry. If you get in bed with the gaming industry, then you can get in bed with reparations, because reparations will stimulate the economy. The gaming industry doesn't necessarily do so. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I want to say what I do with Big C Sports Podcast. I love doing Big C Sports Podcast. I always produce the show. I direct the topics. I broadcast all the shows. I do all the sound effects based on the platform provided by the agency. We should all have more laughter in our lives, especially the people that get mad that I wake them up at 3 o'clock in the morning. And then the commercials are done. The stats are provided. I even do the storytelling. And then I do the play-by-play. 1st and 10, 49ers, 50-yard lines, 4 wide out, 5-man front, the snap, Montana rolling to his right, rolling. He throws downfield, and it's caught for the touchdown. Touchdown, 49ers. Jerry Rice, 50 yards. And Shanahan said, why were they in the game? I thought they retired a long time ago. Well, they forgot they had a flashback. If you have a flashback, do you believe in miracles? The 49ers, they may need Jerry Rice and Joe Montana to beat Minnesota this weekend. I'll get back into that. I also want to say I upload the show. It goes out to 29 podcast applications out of New York City, and then streaming on 4 TV platforms: Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon and Fire TV. And then I never missed a show since doing Big C Sports with the crew back in the days of Salem Media. And now we have people who miss practice. I'm not talking about the game. I'm talking about practice. I want winners. I want people who want to win. You want to crown them. The Bears are who we thought they were. The late Dennis Green talked about the Bears are who we thought they were. And I love football. It just makes me feel so good. It gets my blood flowing. I want to say thank you to Xfinity, Comcast TV, and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. And just like in Genesis 1:3, where God said, reparations now, reparations forever. That's not what he said, Big C. Well, I know, but I'm trying to tell the story. And then God said, let there be light. Let there be light, shine light on the world of reparations. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. For every show on Big C Sports Podcast, I always want to pay homage to the Veterans Crisis Hotline. They really are experienced helping veterans and their loved ones get help. They will stand on their head to get some help for our veterans. It's one thing saying thank you for your service, but with Big C Sports, I want to tell you, if you're having some issues in life, there's a phone number you can call and just tell them Big C sent you. 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. Or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. And when you do, you want to give it some praise, because we all need somebody to lean on. It is so good when somebody's leaning back. I really do appreciate giving you that with Big C Sports Podcast. I got a lot of stuff going on this weekend. I got some meetings to attend to for reparations in California, and there's some people asking some very poignant questions, and I want to make sure that with Big C Sports Podcast that I also participate in answering those very poignant questions. I'm so appreciative of being able to talk about things that are real with Big C Sports Podcast. I also want to say for this Saturday, there's an event, and I was told about this event by Marilyn White, financial planner, certified financial planner. It's the Spiritual Life Center presents Uncover the Hidden Legacy of Slavery in America. And it's a beautiful story. I've had the chance to interview some of the people involved with it. The executive director, James Trapp, he was on the program just yesterday, and then Constance and Dane Perry, they were also on the program, I believe, on Wednesday. And I just appreciate all the great people in this great country that are trying to do the right thing when it comes to opportunity. And if you go on to, it's a Spiritual Life Center. They have a website. It's WORLD.org. That's SLC WORLD.org. They have proud sponsors, platinum sponsors, Jay King of the California Black Chamber of Commerce, and also Charlton Curry of Big C Sports Podcast. You got to give that some praise. I said give it praise, praise, praise. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Really do appreciate you, Marilyn White. May you have a great show. I have a lot going on, and I won't be able to attend, but I do want to make sure that people know what's going on in Deer Hills, California. I want to say also, I love what's going on in sports, but I also got to make sure that I get my company in with the Big C team and RDC team. I want to tell you what it is. I hope you pay attention because I'm going to have a quiz when it's done. It's called A Guide to Protect, Preserve, and Transfer Wealth. What's it called again, Big C? It's called A Guide to Protect, Preserve, and Transfer Wealth with Resource Development Consulting, Inc., in conjunction with the Law Office of Scott Thibodeau and the Law Office of Attorney George Jones, Esquire. The Missing Link, Long-Term Care, Solutions by the Book. Over 3 decades of experience helping seniors get their benefits. Medicare and You, taking care of tomorrow. In California, it's called Medi-Cal. In other parts of the country, it's called Medicaid. Your family and spouse can avoid the spend down for nursing home costs. You can find out your options. Do you know anyone that's dealing with the exorbitant cost of a nursing home? Would you believe it? It's an entitlement signed by Lyndon Baines Johnson with Dr. King. If that makes sense to you, our promise to you, if you call 800-772-8624, 800-772-8624, we will give you the information. Our promise to you, specialized to navigate and maximize long-term care benefits, protection of your assets without the spend down. You ever need someone to protect your assets, if that makes sense to you? Especially called the probate court, because they'll come after all your assets. Are you talking about Aflac? No, Aflac's the duck. That's Gap Insurance. They can't protect their own assets. That's why you can order one from a restaurant. But the RDC team, we protect your assets. How they do that, Big C? 800-772-8624, 800-772-8624. Protection of your assets without the spend down. All paperwork and communication with all government agencies are handled by our staff of entitlement specialists. Ongoing consulting to provide updates as necessary. Benefits covering skilled nursing facilities, prescription medications, medical equipment costs, and more. But not only that, protection of your assets, including your home, thereby allowing you to leave a legacy for your family, avoiding the nightmare of debt brought by the government's estate recovery program called probate. If you don't have a will and a trust, and I talked to some good old boys called attorneys, and James Tapp, he's an attorney too. He's a good one. I'm praying that I never need his services. But it's also nice to know that he's there if I do need to reach out and get his services. I want to say, if you ever have a situation where you need asset protection, some attorneys told me that 7 out of 10 people, 7 out of 10, do not have a will and a trust. I'll say that again. Some good old boys told me, some attorneys, they told me, and these are good attorneys, Martindale Hubbard attorneys, RV-rated attorneys, they told me that 7 out of 10 Americans do not have a will and a trust, but they have cable TV. What do they have, Big C? I said 7 out of 10 Americans do not have a will and a trust, but they have cable TV. At the end of life, cable TV will not protect your assets. It just won't. But a trust will. You get that with the RDC team, a one-time processing fee versus monthly insurance premiums for the rest of your life. Not only that, I'm not done yet. You got to understand what a trust does for you. Protection. Insurance coverage required by law, general liability, workers' compensation. We have lawyers specializing in living trust, Medicaid or Medi-Cal planning for long-term care. Avoid probate. Life insurance policies, veterans benefits, aid and attendance. We have pre-planning and avoid the look-back period. What about your fixed assets, Big C? Will a trust protect that? I'm glad you asked. A trust does protect your fixed assets. And your Aflac won't, and neither will your cable TV. A trust protects your bank account, your checking account, your savings account, your money market account, your certificates of deposit, life insurance policies with the cash values, your fixed index annuities. What about variable assets, Big C? Does a trust protect that? I'm glad you asked. A trust does protect your variable assets, your real estate, your qualified money, IRAs, 401ks, and other investments. For example, avoid capital gains. Let's say you buy a house for $100,000, and then 1 year later that house appreciates to $1 million. According to some real estate brokers that want to make a quick sell, well, that's a $900,000 capital gains. You got to put your property in a trust because there's some lawyers called Darth Vader, and they're looking to come after your assets, and they'll take as much of your assets as they can. You got to have a trust to protect your assets from some of those attorneys. They're called ambulance chasers. Attention business owners over 3 decades of experience. You got to find out your other options to protect what your insurance does not cover. How do we do that, Big C? You call 800-772-8624, 800-772-8624. When you do, you got to tell them Big C sent you. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Now, we give out endorsements that a lot of people don't give out because they don't have them to give. With the RDC team, with the Big C team, we get endorsements, and we give them to you. In fact, I love what the high school cheerleaders say on a Friday night. We have endorsements. Yes, we do. We have endorsements. How about you? Well, I got to tell you who our endorsements are. The late James Gomez, who advised 4 California governors in change for California's nursing homes. He served on Golden One's board of directors for 21 years. He was the CEO of the California Association of Health Facilities. You got to realize that's a great endorsement. But not only that, we have the endorsement of the late Robert Carlson. He was a top legal counsel for CalPERS. He endorsed the RDC team. But not only that, we have, as I mentioned, Attorney Scott Thibodeau, one of the top estate planners in Northern California. We have Mr. Attorney George Jones, Esquire. He's the chair of the California Black Chamber of Commerce and the California Black Chamber of Commerce Foundation. They endorsed the RDC team. But not only that, we have, and this is important for me to say this, it's really important. We have Mr. Ray De La Cruz. He's the CEO for Resource Development Consultant, been doing his thing over 34 years. He endorses the RDC team. We have Mr. Alex De La Cruz. He's the founder of American Veteran Benefits. He endorses the RDC team. But not only that, we have Leon Woods, one of the top lobbyists in California. He endorses the RDC team. But not only that, we have Miss Cheryl Brown. She's the chair of the California Commission on Aging. She endorses the RDC team. But not only that, we have Charlton Curry. He's the co-chair of the National Black Wall Street Project co-chapter in Sacramento, California. I endorse the RDC team. Also a business development consultant with the RDC team. But not only that, owner of Big C Sports Podcast Corporation, the #1 sports podcast show in the universe. And not only that, we have Double O. She's the payout committee of the National Black Wall Street Project, also consultant for the RDC team. But not only that, has her own economics awareness talk show called Let's Eat. And everybody likes to eat. You get meat on the bone. If you like meat on the bone, you got to Google it. And you got to give that some praise. I say give it praise, praise, praise. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. But as I always tell you, I love doing Big C Sports Podcast. And now, back by popular demand. Are you ready for some football? Yeah! I said, yeah, I'm ready for the football. I got to get hyped. I always start today's show on a Friday as a happy Friday. I want to give Big C's high school football Friday night lights. I love bringing it to you. We get spirit. Yes, we do. We get spirit. How about you? That's my story, and I'm taking with it. I want to bring you Big C's high school football rankings, but I'm going to start from 25 to #1. I usually only do 10, but I'm going to expand it on this happy Friday. I have number 25, DeSoto High School of Texas. Number 24, Lakeland High School of Florida. Number 23, De La Salle High School of Concord, California. Number 22, St. Francis Academy out of Maryland. Number 21, Bergen Catholic out of New Jersey. Number 20, I have Buford High School of Georgia. Number 19, Kroner Canyon out of Utah. Number 18, Archbishop Spalding out of Maryland. Number 17, Central High School of Alabama. Number 16, Lone Peak out of Utah. Number 15, Cocoa High School out of Florida. Number 14, in the country. I love giving out the praise to these high school kids. It is Royal County out of Kentucky, number 13, North Crowley out of Texas. We have number 12, Orange Lutheran out of California. Number 11, we have Douglas County, also out of Georgia. But I'm not done yet. That's number 11 through 25. But I also want to bring in the top 10 in high school football, what I call Big C's Friday Night Lights. I got number 10, Mission Viejo High School of California. I have number 9, Carrollton High School of Texas. I have Make That Carrollton High School of Georgia. Don't get mad at me down there in Georgia. I have number 8, St. Thomas Aquinas out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I have number 7, North Shore High School out of Texas. I have number 6, IMG Academy out of Bradenton, Florida. Number 5, I have Bishop Gorman out of Las Vegas, Nevada. Number 4, Duncanville High School out of Texas. Number 3, Milton High School out of Georgia. Number 2, St. John Bosco of Bellflower, California, out of the Trinity League. And I have number 1 in Big C's high school football, modern day Santa Ana, California, the defending high school football champions. They are ranked number 1 in the country, according to Big C in Big C's Friday Night Lights. Give that some praise. I say give it praise. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I love giving it praise because a mind is a terrible thing to waste. And I love doing that with Big C Sports Podcast. I love bringing things to you that help the high school kids realize that they matter. And I want to make sure with Big C Sports Podcast, as I say to all my high school friends out there, please don't drink and drive, and don't let your friends drink and drive. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, and you don't want to let people that you love drink and drive. You have your whole life ahead of you. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Now, to the big boys. Are you ready for some football? Yeah! They're ready for the kickoff. I'm ready for the kickoff, too. Football is a great game, and I got Big C's thoughts on week 3 in college football all over this great country. It's amazing how these young kids can stay up 24 hours and not need any sleep. All they need is some no-dos and some coffee. I don't recommend no-dos or coffee, but when it comes to football, it gets me going. It's provocative. It really gets me going. I'm telling you, the day gets started with number 4 at Alabama. They're going to hit the road to face Wisconsin out of the Big Ten in the Camp Randall Stadium, and crowd will be nuts. Number 16, LSU. They will get his SEC schedule started. And a showdown with South Carolina and Columbia, the afternoon slate. Number 18, Notre Dame will try to play like a champion and bounce back at Purdue. Number 9, Oregon, the quack. The Oregon Ducks, they will face a hostile crowd at Oregon State. And those two schools, they have been playing each other for 128 years. That's a long time. That's longer than all of you have been alive. That makes sense to you. Should be a good game up in the state of Oregon. And then number 1, Georgia, looking for its 42nd consecutive regular season win, squaring off with Kentucky and Lexington and Colorado. They will renew its rivalry against the Colorado State, the Rams, after last year's overtime thriller. All's fair in love and war. I look forward to bringing you Big C's thoughts in college football. It's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I got number 4, Alabama at Wisconsin, a noontime kickoff on Fox Sports. Wisconsin has been kind of underwhelming offensively through 2 games with Miami transfer Tyler Van Dyke at quarterback. Alabama could barely get out of its own way in week 2 against South Florida, but they got the win. I want winners. I want people who want to win. South Florida, the Bulls, they've been giving those elephants a tough time, but as in most things in life, an elephant is a lot bigger than a bull, and Alabama pulled away with that win. Quarterback Jalen Milroe will be challenging for the Badgers, even though if he gets loose, it's hard to imagine both teams scoring enough points to surpass the over-under 51. I got Alabama going into Cap Random and winning that game by 2 touchdowns. Two? Yeah, 2. I guess that's how I was raised, the great Chris Rock said. I got number 16. I got the LSU Tigers at the South Carolina Gamecocks. It's a noontime kickoff on ESPN. And I don't see anything wrong with saying that the good old boys would put on a good show. LSU going into South Carolina. LSU got beat by USC, got beat pretty soundly. But I got to tell you, I'm hesitant to back LSU on the road to cover the spread. In this game, the matchup doesn't seem to be too bad for the Tigers. LSU's defensive weakness is its secondary, and USC hit them for almost 400 yards passing. But I know South Carolina's not as strong as USC. LSU's favored by 7, and I got LSU covering and winning by 7. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I got number 18. You got a dun 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 dun. The Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish, as they want to play like a champion at Purdue. 3:30 p.m. kickoff on CBS Sports on Paramount and also the CBS Sports app. Now, many successful coaching tenures at Purdue, they were highlighted with historic wins over Notre Dame, and this Notre Dame appears to be, they got to get back on track. No way you can lose a game at home versus Northern Illinois. I'll not tolerate losing to the Purdue Boilermakers. If Purdue can make it a game, Hudson Card, he represented one of the best quarterbacks the Fighting Irish will defend this season. I think Notre Dame will pull away with a victory. They had just beaten Texas A&M down in Texas, so they were kind of looking past. You know how young kids do. And Notre Dame is favored by 10.5. I think they covered by 14. That's Big C's thoughts. That's my story. I'm taking with it. 800 Gambler. I don't gamble on sports because I like to leave my money in my wallet. And what did Sam Jackson say in that commercial? He said, "What's in your wallet?" Well, if you gamble, not a whole lot of anything. Don't be gambling. If you have a gambling problem, call 800 Gambler. That's 800 Gambler. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Number 9. Got the University of Oregon. Quack. Ducks at the Oregon State Beavers. No longer a Pac-12 or a Pac-10 or a Pac-18. Now, Oregon State is still part of the Pac-12, now called the Pac-2, even though they're looking to expand. And at Oregon, they flew their way into the Big Ten. Doesn't make any sense. I wish the Pac-10 was still here, and the Pac-12, of course, but now they decided that they get more money by leaving where they were and going to another conference. That's a shame, but that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I have Oregon number 9 at Oregon State, 3:30 p.m. kickoff East Coast time on Fox Sports. Now, Oregon, you never know what color uniform they're going to wear, but they have a lot of money coming out of Nike territory, and Oregon has not yet come close to its top form, but the issues have been prevented by the Ducks from meeting expectations. You can fix it. The offensive line struggled at times. It seems to smooth out things during the Boise State game thanks to a mid-game personnel shuffle. If Oregon can avoid the mental mistakes and the penalties that have popped up in the last 2 weeks, it won't take long for them to beat their rival, in-state rival, the Oregon State Beavers. In a real fight, I think a Beaver would maul a Duck, but these are super Ducks. These are mighty Ducks, and I think Oregon gets the win. They're favored by 16.5. I think they'll win. I don't think they win by 16.5. I think they win by 14. That's my story, and I'm taking it. We got the Colorado Buffaloes at the Colorado State Rams, 7:30 p.m. kickoff, East Coast time on CBS Sports and also Paramount and CBSSports.com. The Colorado is a 2.5. Think about that. They're a 2.5-point favorite, and they're going to play in the confines of Folsom Field. They've already shown that things can unravel for the Buffaloes. They fell apart against Nebraska. They had a good win over North Dakota State. I think they'll pull out this win against Colorado State. They had 9 penalties for a total of 104 yards against Nebraska. That was last week. And they failed to find any sort of rhythm as their first 5 offensive drives ended in 3 punts. But Nebraska's a good team this year, not like the days of Tom Osborne or Tommy Smith, but they're a good team. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. A turnover on downs and a pick 6. It will be interesting to see how primetime Deion Sanders' team will respond to some adversity. You got to respond to adversity. I got it. I'm going to say, in my opinion, Colorado wins that game by a touchdown. We got number 1 Georgia at Kentucky at 7:30 p.m. kickoff East Coast time on ABC Sports. And FUBU, when you think about the Georgia Bulldogs, the defensive line is very tough to deal with. Kentucky imploded last week against South Carolina, recording just 183 yards while allowing 5 sacks, 11 tackles for loss. And what I'm thinking with Big C's feelings, I got to get into my feelings. I think Georgia will roll. They will play Kentucky. Georgia just knocked out Clemson to start the season. And then they had an easy win last week. Georgia's longest winning streak against an SEC team is Kentucky, which has lost 14 straight to the Bulldogs. The average margin is 19. Georgia's favored by 24. I think they cover by 24. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Now, no matter what you think, college football is great. But I don't like how the Pac-12 has disbanded. And Arizona State, Colorado and Utah, they joined the Big 12. You had Oregon, Washington, USC, UCLA, they joined the Big 10. I don't like that. There's so many things that we can learn by not just bouncing around like a mosquito bounces around, trying to find a place to land. Well, they found a place to land, but I think it's bad for college football. There's talk on the West Coast of some teams that are going to join in the new Pac-12 conference. And there's talk, of course, Oregon State and Washington State that were left, even Cal and Stanford, two great academic schools. They went to the East Coast to play in the ACC, the Atlantic Coast Conference. There's talk of schools like Fresno State, San Diego State, UNLV, Nevada Reno, Colorado State, and the University of Nevada joining the Pac-12. I would like to add my 2 cents. If you think about San Jose State and also Sacramento State, they could join the Pac-12. It may take 2 years to get it figured out. There are a lot of stadiums that need to expand their size, and the TV revenue will make that possible. I hope that they figure it out, because I don't want to see teams that just up and leave their conference after being there 128 years. Oregon and Oregon State have played in the same conference, and now they're in a different conference. To me, that doesn't make any sense. That's not fair to the fans that want to go see a game. If you live in Berkeley, you're not going to drive to Florida to watch Cal Berkeley play Florida State, or see them play Clemson, or South Carolina, or Virginia. That's a long drive. If you are at Florida State, you're not going to get in a car and drive to see the Florida State Seminoles play the Stanford Cardinals or the California Golden Bears. But that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I hope that cooler heads prevail. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. May lightning strike! May cooler heads prevail. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. I do want to say, for NFL football, are you ready for some football? Of course you are ready for the football. The Miami Dolphins with Tua Tagovailoa took on the good old boys from Buffalo, the Buffalo Bills. And it wasn't a good thing for Miami. Tua, his third concussion in 3 years. A rough night for the Miami Dolphins, and Tua Tagovailoa only got tougher against the Buffalo Bills. They were down 31-10 in the second half, and Tua Tagovailoa picked up a first down on a fourth down on a scramble, and I want you to hear what happened.
You're down by 21 points, 4th and 4. Pressure. Tua steps up. He's going to run for the first down and takes a shot at the 6-yard line. Hamlin hit him, and Tua down. Picked up the first, split the seam, but pays the price.
It was not a good scene in South Florida, seeing a star quarterback being injured again, tackled by Damar Hamlin, who suffered cardiac arrest last year in a game where they were playing on the field. They had to resuscitate him, and now he's gotten healthy. Thank God for medical devices. And now for Tua Tagovailoa, the third time it's happened to him. I don't like that. I know we had a movie called Concussion with Will Smith about a decade ago, and we saw what happens with a lot of athletes when they suffer a lot of brain injuries. It did not get much better for the Dolphins from there. The Bills went on to win that game at 31-10. They've now won 12 of the past 13 games. The Miami Dolphins, who are once again facing concerns about Tua Tagovailoa's his health under head coach Mike McDaniel. I know there's a lot of people that say you want to be tough in football. You want guys to be tough and play through pain. I want winners. I want people who want to win. But obviously, I don't want to see players getting injured. And Tua Tagovailoa, back in the day, there are a lot of times when players would say, we want to be tough. We want guys to play through pain. But right now, you got to stay healthy. And in my opinion, the man's not healthy. Even if they get him back out there in 3 or 4 weeks, it's just not a healthy thing to see. He's almost one more hit away from being concussed. Well, that's my story. I'm sticking with it. I got to tell you, in Big C's thoughts for NFL football, I got week 2 of the 2024 season, and everybody has their own thoughts. But I'm going to give you my thoughts. I got including the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, their quest for revenge against the Detroit Lions, and a classic quarterback showdown between Joe Burrow and touchdown Patrick Mahomes. All culminates in a Monday Night Football matchup between the Falcons and the Eagles on ESPN. But I'm going to give you Big C's thoughts. I got, get ready, set, here we go. I got the New Orleans Saints. They are 1-0 at the Dallas Cowboys. How about those Cowboys? The Cowboys are 1-0. Dak Prescott got $60 million. Made me start doing more push-ups so I can get $60 million. That's a 1 o'clock p.m. kickoff East Coast time on Fox Sports. I want to tell you Dallas is favored by 6. The over-under is 46.5. This should be a shootout. You got to look at the cornerbacks, starting quarterbacks, Marshawn Lattimore. Excited when you think about it, but he exited week 1, the win against the Panthers. This is a different team. He has a hamstring injury. I got to tell you the storyline. The last time the Cowboys played at AT&T Stadium, they suffered one of their worst playoff defeats in team history. It was 48-32 to the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers are a good team. It's the second longest home winning streak in team history, 1979 to 1981. Think about that. Going into Sunday's game, a 16-game winning streak at home for the regular season, and that dates back to 1979 to 1981. They outscored opponents by 172 points at home. That's the largest single-season differential in team history. How about those Cowboys? If the Cowboys get to 17 straight home wins, they could be 2-0 in back-to-back seasons for the first time since 2007 and 2008. I got a bold prediction for the Gooder Boys from New Orleans. Who that say? They're going to beat those Saints. I think Derek Carr is going to get close to passing for over 250 yards. But I also got to tell you, when it comes to the sports world, what does Las Vegas think? I got a betting nugget called Big C's Betting Nuggets. The Saints are 27-13 against the spread as road underdogs since 2014. They're 5-4 against the spread under head coach Dennis Allen. My thoughts? How about those Cowboys? I got the Cowboys winning this one 31-24. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I think the Cowboys are going to be another dominant team, at least 12 wins this season. How about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 1-0 at the Detroit Lions 1-0, 1 o'clock p.m. kickoff East Coast time on Fox Sports. Detroit is favored by 7.5. The over-under is 51.5. The Buccaneers storyline having lost to the Lions twice last year, including 31-23 in the divisional round of the playoffs. This is a different team for Detroit. This is a team that goes into games now with their favorite to win. I got to look at the storylines. It was a quiet night for all-pro wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown in Week 1 in the overtime win over the Los Angeles Rams. But touchdown Jared Goff said he knows he'll get his moves going the right direction. And I think Amon-Ra St. Brown would at least get a touchdown in this game against Tampa Bay. I got to tell you, no matter what I think, Dan Campbell has made this team a tough team. But you also got to look at what Tampa Bay is doing. Tampa Bay, they're a fine football team, and they have the revenge on their mind. Sometimes revenge is good, but it's not always good. I got to tell you Big Steve's thoughts. I think for the Buccaneers, they're going to play this game close. It doesn't mean they're going to win, but I want winners. I want people who want to win. I got to look at the betting nugget. The Buccaneers are 8-1 against the spread on the road over the past 2 seasons. That's a clue. Now, it doesn't mean they win. I have the Detroit Lions 24, Tampa Bay Buccaneers 21. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. How about those Colts? Not the Johnny Unitas Colts, but the Indianapolis Colts. They are 0-1 at the Green Bay Packers, 0-1 and 1 o'clock p.m. kickoff East Coast time on Fox Sports. Now, Indianapolis is favored by 2.5. Jordan Love is out. He got injured in Brazil in the game against the Philadelphia Eagles. The over-under is 40.5. You got to look at quarterbacks to watch. For the quarterback for Indianapolis, Anthony Richardson out of Florida, he's helping the Colts redefine their offensive identity with a deep ball. In Week 1, he averaged 16.5 yards in the air per attempt. That's the most by any quarterback since Lamar Jackson in Week 3 of 2021. He's a run-pass option. Reminds me a lot of Lamar Jackson. and also Steve Young back in the day. Some of the stats to know in this game, it would be the first time since 1992 that a quarterback other than touchdown Brett Favre and touchdown Aaron Rodgers or touchdown Jordan Love will start for the Green Bay Packers in the first 6 weeks of the season. I'm telling you, I love football, but I'm not a betting man. I do want to tell you my betting nuggets. Now, the Colts are favored, and the Colts are 3-0 against the spread as road favorites under head coach Shane Steichen, who played his college football at UNLV, and he played for Oak Ridge High School in Northern California out of El Dorado Hills. They are 5-1 against the spread overall as favorites. And then Jordan Love's injured, who played at Liberty High School in Bakersfield and went to Utah State. I got to tell you, if you have an injured quarterback, what are Tina trying to say? What's Love got to do? What's Love got to do with it? I have the Colts 24, Green Bay Packers 20. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. I got the Jets. The New York Jets, they are 0-1. They lost their game to San Francisco 32-19 at Levi Stadium last Monday night. And now they have to fly across the country to go back home and then fly down to Tennessee. They're taking on the Tennessee Titans, who are also 0-1. It's a 1 o'clock p.m. kickoff, East Coast time on CBS Sports. The Jets are favored by 3.5, but the over-under is 41.5. After surrendering 180 rushing yards to the 49ers, the most of which came outside of the tackles, the defense is focused on getting better edge rush. They got to do that, but the Niners are a dynamic team, and they can get 100 yards on anybody. I got to tell you my thoughts on this game. A stat to know, when I look at this team, the Jets, they do have touchdown Aaron Rodgers. And the Jets get cornerback Sauce Gardner won't allow a single reception again, even if the Jets lose. I think they're going to play much better than they played against San Francisco. I got to tell you, I'm thinking touchdown Aaron Rodgers. He's going to get it 250 yards passing. But I got to tell you what Vegas says. Big C's betting nugget. The New York Jets, they are 0-9 against the spread in their past 9 games on short rest. They're 0-6 against the spread under coach Robert Saleh. But I feel touchdown Aaron Rodgers. He's going to get his groove back. And I feel the Jets will pull out a win. The Jets, Jets. I got the Jets 21, Tennessee Titans 14. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. How about the Bang Bang Niner game? The San Francisco 49ers, they are 1-0 at the Minnesota Vikings, 1-0 at 1 o'clock p.m. kickoff East Coast time on CBS Sports. Now, San Francisco's favored by 5.5. The over-under is 45.5. Christian McCaffrey will not play, but they won't need him. Their running game is legit. Under defensive coordinator Brian Flores, no team has blitzed more than the Vikings since the start of last season. But the 49ers quarterback, touchdown Brock Purdy, he's excellent against the blitz. He ranks 3rd in the NFL in QBR at 84, and he's leading the league in passing yards per attempt when blitzed. I'm telling you, the Niners can pick up the blitz. He can find time and find an open man downfield. For the Vikings quarterback, Sam Darnold, his biggest takeaway from spending 2023 as a 49ers backup was learning the value of playing time. That's not going to help him in this game. I know the Dome will be loud in Minnesota. The edge rushing from the Vikings, that could be a problem, but not against this team. 49ers wide receiver Brandon Ayuk, he's going to record 100 yards receiving in this game. Deebo Samuel may get close to 100 yards, and watch for George Kittle to catch a lot of over-the-middle passes. I think the 49ers offensive line is too strong to allow Brock Purdy to go down hard. But I got to tell you, Deebo Samuel, he will be a factor in this game. He's a run-pass option. You got to keep your eyes on Deebo Samuel. But what does Las Vegas say? Big C's betting nugget. This is the Vikings' second largest home underdog under coach Kevin O'Connell. Last season, they upset the 49ers outright as a 6.5-point home underdog. That's not going to happen this time. The Bang Bang Niner game, they're looking for a fistful of gold. They're looking for another Super Bowl. And this time they want to head down to New Orleans, but they got to go game by game. I got the 49ers 35, the Vikings 21. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. 35-21, that's a big spread, Big C. Yeah, the Niners are a good team. You saw what they did to the Jets, and the Jets are just as good as the Vikings. I got the Seattle Seahawks. They are 1-0 at the New England Patriots, 1-0 at 1 o'clock p.m. kickoff East Coast time on Fox Sports. Seattle is a 3.5-point favorite. The over-under 38.5. The storyline under former head coach Pete Carroll, the Seahawks won 24 of their last 35 games that kicked off at 10 a.m. And then when you look at Mike McDonald's team to have success in Foxborough, Massachusetts, the weather's going to be decent. It will need another strong performance from its run defense against running back Rodmore Stevenson, who rushed for 120 yards and a touchdown on 25 carries in the Patriots opener. But Seattle held the Broncos running backs to just 3.2 yards per carry. I think Seattle's going to be a very tough team, even on the road. Now, a storyline, the Patriots offense was 1 of 4 in the red zone in their Week 1 win. This is a tough team coming in from Seattle. I like what Seattle's doing. But what do I find Las Vegas is saying? My bold prediction, I think you can go east. You can win an early game. The Seahawks running back, the X Factor, Zach Charbonnet out of UCLA. He's a difficult weapon to stop, catching the ball and running the ball out of the backfall. And then you have Kenneth Walker III dealing with an abdominal injury, so Charbonnet can see a lot of playing time running the ball on the ground. But what does Las Vegas say? Big C's betting nugget. 7 of the past 8 Seattle road games have gone under the total. I gotta tell you, Seattle can travel because a Seahawk can fly. I got Seattle 21. I got the Patriots 14. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. The New York Giants 0-1 at the Washington Commanders. Also 0-1, 1 o'clock p.m. kickoff East Coast time on Fox Sports. Now Washington's favorite by 1.5. The over-under is 43.5. The storyline, the pressure on building on the Giants quarterback Daniel Jones, who insisted this week that his confidence is not shattered. It shouldn't be shattered. He signed a $160 million contract in March of 2023. Washington, I got to tell you, he's done well against Washington. With 5 career victories and a 10-3 touchdown interception ratio, he plays well against Washington. But I got to tell you, for Washington, in Week 1, the Commanders quarterback Jaden Daniels, last year's Heisman Trophy winner, he rushed 16 times, 88 yards, and a 37-20 loss to Tampa Bay. Well, the Giants are not Tampa Bay. He did it with 7 carries, coming on design runs. I think he can handle the blitz. He completed 12 of 15 passes, 139 yards against Tampa when they did not blitz. A stat to know, Washington has a 7-game home losing streak, the longest active streak in the league. My bold thoughts, I think it's just my opinion, and everybody has one. The X factor for the Commanders running back, Brian Robinson Jr., if he goes up against the Giants defense that gave up 111 rushing yards on 26 carries to the Vikings, he's probably going to get close to 100 yards this week. What's Big C's betting nuggets out of Vegas? Washington, they are 0-7 against the spread in their past 7 games and 0-4 against the spread last season. I got to tell you, the way I feel about this matchup, it's going to be a close game, but I have the Washington Commanders winning 21-17 against the Giants. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. How about those Chargers? The Los Angeles Chargers, they are 1-0 at the Carolina Panthers, going 1 p.m. kickoff East Coast time on CBS Sports. The Chargers are a 6-point favorite. The over-under is 39.5. The storyline, the Chargers are looking to start 2-0 for the first time since 2012. However, Los Angeles has a 1-6 record against Carolina, with its only win coming in 2004. The Chargers' last game against the Panthers came during quarterback Justin Herbert's rookie season when he threw for 330 yards. The storyline to this game, the Panthers gave up 180 rushing yards, an embarrassing loss to New Orleans. A lot of people thought maybe they even quit. I got quarterback Bryce Young coming off a 10.5 total QBR. He can't throw the ball if he's laying on his backside. I think the Chargers go in there, and I think they'll put up some points. But I got to ask, my bold prediction, at one point of the first 3 quarters, the Chargers will run 10 consecutive running plays. Harbaugh likes to pound the ball. You want to pound him. The great Jim Harbaugh does that. He wants to run the ball, even though they have a great passing game. But I still got to ask you, what do they think in Las Vegas? Big C's betting nuggets. The Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert, he's 5-1 against the spread as a road favorite of more than a field goal. My thought, how about those Chargers? May let me strike. I got the Chargers going to the East Coast, and they'll win it 31-21. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. That's a lot of points to fly from West Coast to the East Coast, but I think they'll get it. I got the Cleveland This is for you. The Cleveland Browns 0-1 at the Jacksonville Jaguars 0-1. 1 o'clock p.m. kickoff East Coast time on CBS Sports. Jacksonville's favored by 3. The over-under is 41.5. The storyline, the Browns offense was a no-show. Down goes Browns. Down goes Browns. Down goes Browns. That was at home against the doomsday defense from the Dallas Cowboys. But they're usually reliable on defense. They struggled in the season opening loss to the Cowboys, and Cleveland's defense will be tested again. This time, they got to hold up to the test. They got to draw a line in the sand and play well against the Jaguars. The Jaguars converted on 2 of 10 third downs against Miami in Week 1, including 0 for 5 performance in the second half. Now, head coach Doug Peterson put it, third down was our nemesis. Therefore, they've been working hard in practice to get better on third downs. I got to tell you a stat to know. Jacksonville Jaguars quarterback Trevor Lawrence has lost 6 straight starts, the longest active streak in the NFL. He's had a 48 QBR through that span. My prediction, the Browns wide receiver Jerry Jeudy has at least 75 receiving yards, and I think they'll get the ball into the end zone more than they did last week. The Browns wide receiver Amari Cooper, the Browns struggled against the Cowboys, but Cooper still led the team in snaps and targets and routes run. Despite quarterback Deshaun Watson having his worst game of his career, he's going to pick it up if they start him. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Jacksonville gave up 239 combined receiving yards to Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle last week. The betting nuggets, what does Big C in Las Vegas say? 10 straight Browns road games have gone over the total, including the playoffs, and Cleveland is 2-8 against the spread on the road in that span. That's not good. My thoughts, I'm going to go with a tight win. It's hard to win on the road after you had knocked out at home. I'm going to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars 24, the Cleveland Browns 21. And that's my story. I'm sticking with it. How about those Raiders? The auto win was a Raider. The Las Vegas Raiders 0-1 at the Baltimore Ravens, also 0-1 on 1 o'clock p.m. kickoff East Coast time on CBS Sports. Baltimore is a 9-point favorite. The over-under is 41.5. The Raiders wide receiver, the great Devontae Adams, took to study and tape 3 years ago of the Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson and his ability to break tackles as a runner. Now, Adams won't have to look far on Sunday as Jackson is on the field. And I wonder if Devontae feels bad about leaving Green Bay and going to Las Vegas. He was there with a friend, Derek Carr. They used to team together at Fresno State. But, you know, people move and they change. The storyline, the Ravens coach John Harbaugh said running back Derek Touchdown Henry, he wasn't brought in for 30-plus carries per game. Baltimore wants to get him more involved. He has to get at least 20 touches. If you're not going to give him 20 touches, you really don't let him build up what he has to build up, which is steam. Stats to know, Jackson's 122 rushing yards in Week 1 were the most by a quarterback during a season opener in NFL history. That's a clue. The Raiders, I just don't feel good about the Raiders this year. You saw what happened when they were playing the Los Angeles Chargers. But what do they say in Las Vegas? Big C's betting nuggets with the Las Vegas Bet 800 Gambler. The Ravens were 3-0 outright against the spread last season after a loss. My pick, the Raiders to go from the West Coast to the East Coast. It's going to be a little bit tough to do that. I got the Baltimore Ravens 28, the Raiders 20. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. If they get 20, that's my story. I'm going to stick with it. Maybe they'll get an extra touchdown. I got the Los Angeles Rams 0-1 at the Arizona Cardinals 0-1 on 4:05 p.m. kickoff on Fox Sports. It's East Coast time kickoff. And the Arizona's favored by 1. That's not making me confident. The over-under is 47.5. Touchdown Matthew Stafford for the Rams threw for at least 300 yards in 3 straight regular season games dating back to last year, which is the longest active streak in the NFL. Stafford did not hit that mark in either game last season against Arizona, but this is a different year. It's a different year, and I think he's going to have a good game against Arizona. Kyler Murray, he's going to run around a lot, but I don't know if that's going to help them against this Rams defense. A stat to know, the Cardinals have an 8-game home losing streak in divisional games. The longest active divisional losing streak. They are 1-11 in division games since 2022, which is the worst in the NFL. That's a clue. What does Big C think? And what does Las Vegas think? What are the betting nuggets? 800 Gambler. I don't bet on games, but I'm going to tell you the Rams coach Sean McVay, he's 13-2 outright against the spread against the Cardinals, including the playoffs. He's 7-0 outright against the spread in Arizona. Big C's picks, Rams 31, Cardinals 24. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. How about those Steelers? The Steelers 1-0 at the Broncos, 0-1, 4:25 p.m. kickoff East Coast time. Pittsburgh's a 2.5-point favorite. The over-under is 36.5. The storyline with the quarterback touchdown, Russell Wilson, still working back from an aggravating calf injury. It appears that touchdown Justin Fields will be in line to make his second start for the Steelers. Wilson felt tightness in his calf during Thursday's practice on week 1, and so we're going to get touchdown Justin Fields. Now, Fields had a turnover-free season opener, completing 17-23 for 156 yards, but he could not hit the middle of the field at 56% on his attempts and 10 a few yards through the air. He's going to have to run more against this defense. The Broncos coach Sean Payton had rookie quarterback Bo Nix drop back to throw 49 times in the opener. That's not good. And he was sacked and intercepted twice in 13 of 26 completions, gained 4 yards or fewer. That's not good. Maybe they should sit him down to let him get his feet up under him, if that makes sense to you. I got a bold prediction. The Steelers wide receiver George Pickens will record under 25 receiving yards. Pat Surtain, the second, lined up opposite DK Metcalf and all but one of the wide receiver routes in week 1. I got to tell you, what does Las Vegas and Big C think? The betting Nuggets, I don't bet on sports, 800 Gambler. The Broncos are 6-1 against the spread in their past 7 games. As a home underdog, I got the Steelers going in to Denver and winning 21-17. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Now a big game. The Cincinnati Bengals, they're 0-1 at the Kansas City Chiefs. The defending NFL Super Bowl champions. Is a 4:25 p.m. kickoff East Coast time on CBS Sports. Kansas City is a 5.5-point favorite. The over-under is 48.5. The Bengals storyline, you know Taylor Swift will be there. If Taylor Swift is there, I think Kansas City will get that win. The Bengals quarterback touchdown Joe Burrow did not have one of his better games last week, but he's torn up the Chiefs during their 2 regular season appearances. But that's in the past. He's completed 79% of his passes and has not thrown an interception. That will change in this game. The Chiefs are who we thought they are. The Chiefs who allowed 452 yards total offense last week against the Ravens, but that's a different breed of cat, Lamar Jackson. The storyline, Cincinnati's pass protection will dictate this game. If Burrow's long defeat at Kansas City in the 2022 season AFC Championship game, he was sacked on 10.2% of his dropbacks. Kansas City's just a better team. They have touchdown Patrick Mahomes. All 4 matchups between Burrow and Patrick Mahomes have been decided by 3 points or less. It's the 3rd time since 1950 that this has happened. But what does Las Vegas think, Big C? What does Las Vegas think? I'm going to tell you Big C's picks in Las Vegas. 800 Gambler. I don't bet on sports because I like keeping my money. A betting nugget. The Bengals are 16-8 against the spread in their past 24 road games. But this is not your granddaddy's Oldsmobile. I got the defending Super Bowl champion, the Kansas City Chiefs. That's quick got a win against Baltimore. I got Kansas City 30 and the Bengals 24. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. And Taylor Swift will be there. Yes, she will be there. I got another game coming up to you also. The Bears 1-0. And the Bears are who we thought they were. You want to crown them? Crown them. The late in the screen. The Bears 1-0 at the Houston, Texas 1-0, 8:20 p.m. kickoff East Coast time on NBC and Peacock. Now, Houston's a 6-point favorite. The over-under is 45.5. The storyline, the Bears' strength versus the strength on the Houston Texans. Houston's trio of wide receivers against the Bears secondary. Nico Collins led the Texans with 6 catches, 117 yards against the Colts. Touchdown, Stephon Diggs. Touchdown, Stephon Diggs. You'll hear that again. Houston's debut saw him settle in as quarterback C.J. Stroud's outlet and underneath throws. 6 targets, all under 10 air yards, 33 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Now, Chicago's cornerbacks Tyreek Stevenson and Jalen Johnson came away with a pair of interceptions, including Stevenson's 43-yard pick 6 that gave the Bears the lead for good against Tennessee. This is a different team. I'm telling you, quarterback Caleb Williams is known for having a big arm, and that can create explosive plays downfield. But this Houston team, they got a good quarterback in their own. A stat to know, the Bears are 3-14 on road games since the start of 2022. But this is a different Bears team. I think they're going to play well in this game. But C.J. Stroud, he's the real deal. He's not your granddaddy's Oldsmobile. He can throw the ball deep downfield. He has some great receivers to throw to. Keep an eye on the Bears wide receiver Tyler Scott, Keenan Allen, and sidelined by a heel injury, and Rome Odunze dealing with a knee issue. I'm telling you, I like this team down in Houston. The betting Nuggets, the Texans have not closed at least 6-point favorite since week 16 of 2020. 7.5-point favorite versus the Bengals. My thought in this game, how about those Texans? I got the Houston Texans 28 and the Chicago Bears 20. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. That's Big C's thoughts. I got one more game that I'll cover on Monday. How about those Falcons? The Atlanta Falcons 0-1 at the Philadelphia Eagles. This is a battle of the birds. Now, if a Falcon fought an Eagle in real life, you know the Eagle would win. It's Monday, 8:15 p.m. kickoff East Coast time on ESPN. Philadelphia's favorite by 6.5. The over-under is 47.5. We have quarterback Kirk Cousins. He lit up the Eagles last season when he was with the Vikings for the tune of 364 yards and 4 touchdowns. Is this the man who wrecked the buffet at the Hera Club this morning? Well, we will see if Philadelphia has as much of the same defense along with the rookie cornerback Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. All eyes will be on Cousins in any case. But I also want to say touchdown Jalen Hurts will have a big game. That's my opinion against the Falcons. The Eagles edge rushers, a group led by Bryce Huff, Josh Sweat, and Brandon Graham and Nolan Smith Jr. had a quiet opener. They had 0 sacks and 1 quarterback hit against touchdown Jordan Love and the Packers. I think they'll play better this year. They have to. I really like what I'm seeing in this Eagle team. I got to tell you, what does Las Vegas think? You got to ask yourself this question. If the Eagles can go out of the country and win in Brazil against Green Bay, can they come back to the United States and win a game against the Falcons? Let's see what Las Vegas says in Big C's picks. The Eagles are 0-7 against the spread in their past 7 games, laying at least 4 points. But I got a feeling. And sometimes my feelings come true. I got the Eagles 27 and the Falcons 14. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Give that some praise. Give that some praise. That's Big C's NFL football, college football, and Big C's Friday Night Lights. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. As I always tell you on every Big C Sports podcast, if you're going to drink, don't drive. If you're going to drive, don't drink. Because mothers against drunk drivers are mad, and fathers against drunk drivers are mad. It's one of the easiest things not to do. You can walk it off, you can sleep it off, but don't let someone you love get behind the wheel of a car and start driving, because the life you save may be your own, or someone you love, or someone that loves you, or someone who's loved by somebody else. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. As my beautiful mother always says, there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. No man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that crap on their own. If you're going through that crap, you need more LEADA in your life. Now, LEADA is an acronym for Love is the Answer. And love is the answer for a lot of people out there in this great country. As I always tell you, if somebody loves you, they don't hit you. Only hit you because you made me mad. Call 911. If someone loves you, they don't beat you. Only beat you because you made me mad. Call 911. If someone loves you, they don't choke you out. Only choke you out because you make me mad. Call 911. No man, woman, or child should ever have to put up that crap on their own. If you know anybody going through that garbage, pick up the phone and call 911, because things change when the police show up. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. As I always tell you, I love paying homage to my beautiful family legacy on my mother's side, my great-grandparents, Mama and Pop. They were beautiful, loving, kind people, always offering lots of love in the family and lots of food in the belly. And for the big game, the kids were coming to the house from playing. Great-grandma, I'm hungry. I want some ribs. She said, baby, go wash your hands. You can have all the ribs you want. I'm too tired to wash my hands. I want some ribs now. She said, baby, don't yell at me. Now go wash your hands and get all the ribs you want. I said, okay, great-grandma, I'll wash my hands. And then she let us eat all the ribs we want before the kickoff. And my great-grandfather Pop, former military man and former Negro League baseball player, I love them with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And then my beautiful grandparents, Muddy and Hezekiah, they were seers. They could oftentimes look at a person and tell you a lot about their past, their present, and their future. They still help me to this day. I love them with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And then I can always depend on my mama, the most beautiful mama in the history of the universe. Started a Head Start program, a food program, and also coached an all-boys Little League baseball team to the championship of the universe. Always saying, rise and shine. The best person I ever met in my life. Dear Mama, you hear my praise. I've been praying. Mama, I deserve what I've been praying for. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. The best person I ever met in my life. On my father's side, my grandparents, Albert and Alberta Curry, they were pastors. They had 3 churches. They also owned 2 gas stations in Oakland, and they owned 40 acres of land. The Homestead Act gave white Americans 160 acres of land, but they owned 40 acres of land. I was 8 years old, walking through the hallway about 10 o'clock at night, and I held somebody touch me on my forehead. She said, "What are you doing, young man? Going to get some cookies?" I said, "Well, what are you doing up, Grandma? It's 10 o'clock at night. You normally go to bed at 8:30. She said, "What are you doing, young man? Going to get some cookies?" I said, "Cookies is baby crap to what I'm doing, Grandma. I'm going to get my reparations." But a cook all the cookies wouldn't hurt. It's been a long wait. She said, "There's something about your voice. I love hearing you speak." And now Big C Sports Podcast is screaming all over the universe. Love my grandparents with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And then my beautiful father, former United States Air Force fighter pilot, chief mechanic, always making sure planes can fly high so we can all stay safe at night. Always saying, develop your mind to its highest extent and always go forward. I love my dad with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My beautiful brother Todd with that bombastic voice, sound like thunder and lightning when Todd would speak. A voracious reader, always saying go forward. In fact, he said don't look back because you don't have much backside back there to look at. I said I love my backside, Todd, but he said my backside wasn't big enough, and so I started doing my squats, and I think it's working. Todd and I, a voracious reader. Now we love Malcolm X, but we also love the movie by the name of Pulp Fiction with Sam Jackson, John Travolta, Ving Rhames, and Bruce Willis. Like football, before the big fight, Ving Rhames says, "Come sit your butt down and take this money." He said, "Remember, your butt goes down in the 5th round. See that flip?" He said, "Okay, my butt goes down in the 5th round." And he told him what a lot of football players say to each other. He said, "That stinging sensation you're feeling, well, that's just pride flubbing with you." And he said what a lot of football players say to each other. He said, "Flub pride." He said, "Pride only hurts. It never helps." He says football's filled with a lot of unrealistic muddly bluckers who think their butt gets better with time like fine wine. But it don't. In terms of vinegar, then it do. You're going to thank Uncle Marsalis when you're chilling in the Caribbean. Now take this money and remember your butt goes down in the 5th round. Now we know Bruce Willis didn't take the money and he lost his LA privileges. That's my story and I'm sticking with it. I love Todd with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And my beautiful daughter, Daisy, the most beautiful daughter in the history of the universe. College graduate, 2 degrees with honors in 3.5 years from a major university. Daisy set up the very first interview for Big C Sports back in the days of Salem Media. It became the first time in the history of the United States that NFL Monday Night Football started broadcasting live on the Wall Street Business Network. They'd never done that before. They would normally go to ESPN. But because of Daisy, in that interview, and Big C and the crew, they called us the Dream Team. We made the station number 1. Daisy also scored 6 goals in a soccer game. One time it was Daisy with the kick, Daisy with the goal. Daisy, I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Always trust God, Isaiah 54:17, that no weapon formed against you will prosper. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And then my beautiful handsome son, Malcolm, the most handsome son in the history of the universe. College graduate, very smart, erudite, a good man. Malcolm, I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Always trust God. Isaiah 54:17. I pray that no weapon formed against you will prosper. Malcolm helped me save trees. I used to always get the newspaper and look up stats for Big C Sports Podcast. And one day Malcolm said, "Dad, why don't you just Google it?" And a light bulb went off. I've been Googling ever since. Now on 29 podcast platforms and streaming on 4 TV platforms: Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. I'm still waiting for my new commercial from Xfinity, Comcast TV, Direct TV. That's my story and I'm sticking with it. They say it will be ready next week. Malcolm, I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. You can be anything. And then Big C, with all that wealth of knowledge over the years, like my great-grandparents coming out of that barn with their church buddies always saying, you got to believe, you got to believe, you got to believe. Say, let's get ready to rumble. I love saying welcome to the show. SB nominated Big C Sports Podcast. I have no scripts. I have no 3-man teleprompters. I have no producer in my ear. All I have is this gland in the brain called the pineal gland. The ancients call it the third eye. They say that's how you talk to God. That's why I scream so loud. I want God to hear me. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. As I always tell you on every Big C Sports podcast, I love paying homage to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and President Abraham Lincoln. And this is what they should say. I should tell you after here what Ali said. Back in the day, there's a man known by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He's known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, you float like a butterfly, you sting like a bee, rumble, young man, rumble. He said, with all you got to use, how can you lose? Ali said, I'm so pretty, I can't possibly be beat. And every time I listen to Big C Sports, I want to champion reparations at last. Reparations at last. Thank God Almighty. Reparations at last. And then I always end every show paying homage to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and President Abraham Lincoln. What do we want? Reparations. What do we want it? Now. What do we want? Reparations. What do we want it? Now. I'm going to let you hear the greatest speaker in the history of this country on reparations.
Martin Luther King, we had a conversation a couple days ago about handouts and how these right-wing memes, these Republican memes, have infiltrated the Democratic debate to suggest that, ending welfare as we know it, all those kind of things are somehow, great and noble things, when we're not dealing with the underlying problem, which is that there's no economic opportunity there because of insane trade policies and because of Reaganomics. And Martin Luther King spoke to this. Jim and Shane, this is clip number 4. Martin Luther King spoke to this sometime back in the early 60s. And I thought this was a really interesting quote. Here he is.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. This is what we are faced with, and this is a reality. Now, when we come to Washington in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.